this year. And the thing is that when you think about PNC, you got to think about flexibility. You got to think about not a large bank. So PNC is not like your Chase or your Bank of America or your Citi or your Wells Fargo, right? PNC is a mid-tier bank. In other words, they are present in about 20 states, okay? So if you think about the PNC personal loans and lines of credit, the first thing you got to ask yourself, are you in the right city and state? Are you in the right geography? Because if PNC doesn't actually cover your state, then you can't really get a loan from them. Okay, so here are the generalities here. If you think about the PNC personal loans and lines of credit, let me first talk to you about the personal installment loan, the personal loan. Okay, so basically you're looking at a maximum loan amount of $35,000. So the loan range goes from $1,000 to $35,000. And if you have a FICO score of 595, 590 to 625, you can actually get a loan at PNC, not a problem. Now, with PNC, the thing is that they actually they want you to be a current customer. So the more like the longer you have been a customer with PNC, the better it is for you to actually get a loan from them. Okay, so don't think about getting a loan from PNC and not being a customer. And when you're a customer, maybe wait for 3 months, okay, at least 3 months before you actually apply for a loan. So the loan actually goes from $1,000 to $35,000. I see no restriction, virtually no restriction on the loans. Okay, so you can use the loan for vacation, travel, weddings, home improvement. You can use it for moving expenses to actually even consolidate that. You can use the cash to pay off credit cards. Okay, so a lot of flexibility. That's what I mean by flexibility. And also the cool thing about PNC is that basically they give you like if you agree to have auto deduction, if you are paying every month automatically from a PNC account, you actually save like 0.25% in points. So basically, your APR will be lower, and that's kind of cool because if you get $35,000 to be paid over 5 years, 0.25% off that APR is still considerable anyway. So that's pretty good. So 5 years to 1,000 to 35,000, and FICO score 590 to 625 minimum. So that's for the personal loan, right? Now let's talk about the personal line of credit. We're still talking about PNC personal loans and lines of credit this year. We already established that for the personal loan, you got to really look at $1,000 to $35,000. So what about the personal line of credit? The personal line of credit actually also has the same minimum, so $1,000, but the maximum is different. So for a PNC line of credit, they are limiting you at 25,000, not 35, 25. Okay, and so basically you have 1,000 to 1,000 to $25,000, but you can use the 25 grand if you are approved. If you are approved for 25 grand, you can use the 25 grand for anything. Okay, you can finance a large purchase. You can consolidate debt, like basically the same purposes that you actually have for a regular PNC loan. You can also have it for a PNC line of credit. Okay, so you can actually access funds real fast. You can use the cash for vacations and traveling or whatever. So that's really like whether you should go for a PNC personal loan or a PNC line of credit depend on your financial vision. It depends on your definition of debt. It depends on how fast you need the cash, right? So, for instance, for a PNC personal line of credit, that means that if you apply for it, that just means you don't need the cash right away. Like if you need the cash right away, if you need 35 grand right away, you wanted to apply for a loan because then you get the cash right away, right? Now for a line of credit, you can still have the cash right away, but basically they're not going to allow you to draw the whole amount right away. Okay, so it has to go through certain layers. Okay. Also remember that there are some minimums depending on the state where you are at. For instance, California. Unfortunately, if you are in California and you are a PNC customer, the maximum line amount you can get is 5,000. 5,000. So you can see that there are differences depending on the state. So make sure that you check your state before it. Okay, but you can actually access your line of credit funds via checks. by transferring funds via online banking, in branch, or calling the PNC Care Center. So one thing I want to say here is that when you think about PNC personal loans versus PNC lines of credit, you need to understand that you have the possibility to get things done real fast, okay? But just make sure that you remember that the payment methods can be PNC online banking, automated payments, pay by phone, and pay by phone is actually agent assisted. So you have a PNC rep helping you actually set up the payment. Everything I'm telling you, this applies to personal loan, but also personal line of credit. Okay, you also have an in-branch payment. So if you are a PNC customer, because you got to be a PNC customer, you can't really just be like like a random consumer and apply for a PNC personal loan or line of credit. You got to be a customer first. So once you are a customer, you can go to a branch and actually pay there. Okay, and also, if you don't like all this thing that I told you a little earlier, you can actually mail your payment. You can mail your payment to PNC, and they will actually process it for you. Now, the only thing, and this is an important element. The only thing is, it takes longer if you manually send the payment versus if you electronically just process it. Right? This is kind of similar to like when you send a payment to the IRS. When you send it electronically, they get it right away, right? But if you have to mail the check, if we have to mail a check to them, it takes forever. Something if they're saying something to you, like if they're sending you a refund, it's just better that you do things, you get things done electronically. So now, if you're interested, basically for a PNC personal loan or a line of credit, they have an overnight payment address, just in case you want to really like just in case you just forgot to actually pay them and you're trying to really avoid any penalties. Send the check to PNC Bank, lockbox 747032, so 747032, 500 First Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15219. Let me repeat this. I'm going to put this on the screen because I want you to really be clear. So you have PNC Bank, lockbox 747032, 500 First Avenue, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania 15219. Okay, so you kind of have and also on PNC on PNC.com on the bank account, you have the possibility to actually compare personal loans and loan products. So you can see this on the screen. Okay, this is the comparison that you have here. So 1 to 35 grand for the personal loan, and 1,000 to 25 grand for the line of credit. So that's just actually I'll give you let's say an overview of PNC personal loans and lines of credit this year, right? Now let me give you some overall understanding of actually banking with PNC and getting some funds from them through personal loans and lines of credit. Okay. One thing I say here is that depending on the states where you are actually applying from, PNC gives you the possibility to actually pre-qualify. So but that feature is not available in all states. Okay, so you have to check to make sure that it is available from the IP you are actually checking the website from. But if you pre-qualify, you will see like a check rates sort of button. Okay, so that way you know whether or not you're getting a pre-qual. Okay, but one thing, like I said, for the loan, 1,000 to $35,000. Okay, the APR. Oh, by the way, I didn't tell you about the APR because the APR is pretty interesting. PNC is one of the cheapest banks out there when it comes to personal loans. So you're looking at 7.89% to 24.74%. So the bottom line here is that when you think about it, like 24% maximum. Sorry about that. 24% maximum. Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. Okay, especially if you care about like the APR that much, and the repayment window goes from 6 months all the way to 60 months. So 6 months to 5 year. Okay. Now, if you think about PNC Bank personal loans, pros and cons, the pros, Co-applicants are allowed, so that's really good. Okay, so if you have a pretty poor score, credit score, you can actually boost, like you can enlist a co-signer. With PNC, you have low minimum loan amount, right? So you have $1,000. You have competitive minimum APRs, no origination fee, same day funding available for existing customers, and you also have, like I said, discounted rates for automatic payments. On the flip side, you have low maximum loan amount, 35 grand, and you also have late fees. Okay, they're charging you a late fee of $40 or 10% of the payment, whichever is greater. So that's really something to really remember. So big question is, should you actually apply for a personal loan this year or not? Right? I mean, who is a personal bank? Who is a PNC Bank personal loan actually best for? Well, first of all, you got to think about the geography because PNC, like I said, PNC is geo restricted. This is a mid tier bank. This is a tier two bank. It's not a national bank like Wells Fargo, Citi, Chase, or Bank of America. It is a mid tier banks like Key Bank or Fifth Third Bank or U.S. Bank, right? But so you have that geo restriction. So basically, you got to understand that the amounts are different based on the state you're in. Okay, so where are they available? Right now, PNC is available in Alabama, Arizona, Colorado, Connecticut, Washington D.C., Delaware, Florida, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Kentucky, Massachusetts, Maryland, okay, Mississippi, Michigan, Montana, North Carolina, New Mexico, New York, Ohio, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, Virginia, and Wisconsin. And finally, West Virginia. Now, you have to understand that there may be some restrictions if you live in Massachusetts, New York, Connecticut, or Tennessee. So that's something you need to really be clear about. So better to call the company, call the bank before you start anything. Okay, so you want to call 1-877-225-5762 to confirm availability. Again, the number, I'm going to put this on the screen because I want you to really get the right number, the right contact. So you have a 1-877-225-5762. So call that number and discuss and confirm availability before you do anything. Okay, so if you want to apply for a PNC personal loan, you want to check what rate you qualify for, right? So pre-qualify, look over different loan offers and choose the one that you can afford. Sending a formal application at that time, that they will do a hard pull. First, they're doing a soft pull. Now they do a hard pull, and if you get approved, if you're lucky to get approved, basically you just accept the loan offer. So if you think about the PNC personal loans and lines of credit, so that's the foundation, right? So you have a 1,000 to 35 grand for the personal loan and 1,000 to 25,000 for the line of credit. So what are the alternatives? Let's say for some reason you don't like the kind of proposal that PNC sent to you, right? So you have actually some alternatives. You have Wells Fargo, for instance. You have Prosper. You have a Service Credit Union. So that's a credit union, and you have a lot of them. You have a lot of them. Let me quickly talk to you about Wells Fargo. Wells Fargo has the advantage of being a national bank. Okay, that's a national bank. So Wells Fargo is in more states than PNC, and with Wells Fargo, you can actually borrow a maximum of $100,000. That's six digits, $100,000. So you have the possibility to get things done real fast. Okay, so that's really good. I mean, PNC is giving you a 35 grand. Wells Fargo is giving you $100,000, and that's the maximum. And neither Wells Fargo nor PNC Bank charge origination fees. Big banks in general don't charge origination fees. Same thing with if you were to go with Prosper, for instance. Prosper is actually an online like a neo bank. Okay, it's a fintech. So, but Prosper, you can get a a maximum loan amount of $40,000. Okay, and but they're charging you an origination fee that goes from 2 to 5%. So I mean, PNC doesn't charge you anything. Okay, Prospect does charge you. You also have Service Credit Union. Now, Service is actually a credit union that has a law enforcement sort of tie, law enforcement attachment. Okay, so but the cool thing is you don't have to be a police officer like a cop to actually get a job at I mean not a job to get to open an account at Service Credit Union. Okay, but the thing is that the maximum loan amount you get at Service is actually a $50,000. So that's really good. You get more flexibility, $50,000, and basically they're charging you anywhere from like their maximum APR is around 18%. So this is really good because you are really you are getting the best of the best when it comes to loan amount. So big question is, if you think about PNC personal loans and lines of credit, you got to really ask yourself, are you willing to accept a lower loan amount like maximum loan amount? And can you trust PNC, right? I mean, I can answer that question right now. I mean, PNC has been around for years, not even years, decades. Okay, this is a top-notch A plus rated bank. Okay, so they have top ratings on Triple B. They have top ratings on Trustpilot, and so this is a pretty good. So as long as you're comfortable with the geo restriction thing, then you are really good to go. Okay, and also if you are interested in having a relationship with PNC, please start now. If you know you might need money in the future, start now by having an account with them because they are very protective of their customer base. That's PNC I'm talking about, and you want to make sure that you have the right tool set in place before doing anything. Okay. But one thing for sure, if for any reason you want to a competitor, for instance, let's say you want to go to U.S. Bank or Fifth Third Bank or whatever. I mean, just make sure you pay attention to their interest rate, the interest rate they're charging, the fees they're charging, the term lengths and loan amounts, the funding speed. Okay, how fast they will release the loan funds for you. So that can really help the borrower accessibility, customer support, okay, and ethics. So that's really cool from a flexibility point of view. And one thing I also want to say here is that you need to understand that you can apply for a PNC personal loan even if you're not an existing customer. However, if you want your paperwork to be processed sooner, to be processed in a very fast way, it's just better that you borrow where you are currently at, the city and state where you're at. Okay, that way you can really leverage you can leverage all the benefits coming your way there. In conclusion to this conversation, I spoke to you about PNC personal loans and lines of credit. I gave you the generalities, the overall view, and the conclusion. Thank you so much. God bless you. I will see you next time. Just stay marvelous.